Hi. This is Linda Brillhart. Good afternoon. It's going to be moving into evening about 4:30, January 24th, 2025. I want to read to you from my book. I think it's pertinent to the times, and I think it's very entertaining. I wrote it, I said 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. More like 15 or so. Yeah, 15. Maybe a little more. It's about a theocracy. And it's a fantasy young adult. But before I do that, and I also will be showing you some of my paintings. This is all for fun. And I may wait and do that tomorrow. We shall see. But I also want to talk to you about our new reality, President Trump. It's a frightening new world. With threats to freedom of speech, threatening MSNBC. He did that in a rant, but he's done it before. And DEI, the huge bugaboo. Research is being halted in NIH, and everybody in the government is supposed to be on the lookout for those pushing DEI, diversity, equity, and we've seen what's happened in Florida, where books are banned, and they're banned in Texas, and specifically with regard to Black history. Diversity, equity, inclusion. I missed that. And how did we get here? I've heard a lot of blame. Like on MSNBC and other places, about the Democrats failing a good campaign, Biden and what they didn't push, and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And I happen to be of the opinion they did everything right. And Walz wanted to help people get houses, offering, $25,000. Biden had the infrastructure. Harris was also interested in opening up more jobs for people with high school degrees only, not requiring a college degree for work that does not require it. So I think there was a lot that was offered to the American people, and I do not think it was their fault. I think the thing that happened from the very beginning, and I'm very, the immigrants, that's just, it's heartbreaking to think about what happened in the past, the children that were separated. There are 1,500 that has still not been reunited. What happened to those children? That needs to be investigated. they're equating, January 6th um, with the January 6th committee and Trump's prosecutions. No. Trump promoted and pushed an insurrection. He called the Secretary of State of Georgia and asked for votes that he did not have. There were false electors trying to send electors that were not legitimate. All that undermines an election. And what happened when Trump won by a very narrow margin, the Democrats acted like Democrats with a small d, and have cooperated. As Trump threatens democracy in our country, and threatens innocent people, saying that immigrants ate dogs and cats, that they're all criminals. All this is nonsense. And there have been studies. It's not true. I mean, some are going to be. A man murdered a girl in Georgia. So do other people. And they do not have a higher rate of crime. And I think what the Episcopalian Bishop of Washington said to him was absolutely right. So who's to blame? I've heard not to blame, but I'm blaming. The fault of this is the MAGA voters, the people that voted for Donald Trump. They heard all the meanness at Madison Square Garden and cheered. They cheered for deportation, mass deportation, at the Republican convention and in his rallies. And I'm sorry, and I want harm to no one, but I think some people need to own this. And the cause of this was that Donald Trump validated bigotry and meanness. And he's a grifter, and that was ignored. Elon Musk is going to be in the government, and he has numerous government contracts. There's a lot of corruption, and it was ignored because bigotry and meanness is comfortable. It makes some people feel better, and that's the MAGA voter. And I'm sorry, I want no harm to anyone, but you need to own it. We have to, when we make mistakes, all of us, we have to own them before we can grow and improve and elevate ourselves and our society. That's it. That's what I have to say. And Then I'm going to read a little bit to you about a book I wrote that is about a theocracy in a civil war that takes place in an alternate universe, much like this one. And as I said, it's young adult, it's fantasy, and I think it's instructive. Someone asked me, why did you spend the time writing this? When Margaret Atwood had written, her book. And I would say there are many books about the Civil War, there are many books about many topics, and this one was mine. And it's completely different style. And I have a lot of fun with it, and I do hope to generate some interest. As I said, I think it speaks to the time. Okay. All right, I will begin with Thunder in the Hills. As I said, written 15 or so years ago. Let's see if I can get to the front page. Okay, I will begin with the prologue. I want to turn this up a little bit. Okay, prologue, November 20, 2084. Sage was a boy, just a boy. And there he was out in the thick of it. His aunt and her dog were patrolling, and Sage was trying hard to stay out of their line of sight. The old woman flew over the town calling out to rebels, sending them after pockets of Sissa soldiers. 5 in the woods behind the old Hodge house. 10 heading down Pine. 2 around the side of Mike's repair. The rebels had cleared the downtown and were pushing Sissa troops up over the hill and past the nest of houses, cabins, and shacks that made up the residences of Hilltown. Sage wanted to hang back and see who might come out as the line of rebels completed their sweep and moved out into the countryside. There were bound to be some soldiers who had hidden or held back. He didn't want any surprises. The moon was full, giving him good light. A frigid wind whipped over him as he flew. Winter was definitely coming early. Sage pulled his derby down tight, lowered his altitude, and flew back toward the little downtown. Just as he made a turn, a bullet sliced up through the cold night air and tore through the rim of his hat. Stunned, Sage struggled and dropped more than 10 feet. Below him, the town's grocer stood on the seat of a wagon parked by the side of his house. The man held his gun high, panning the sky. He locked on Sage once again. Sage's aunt flew through the air toward the wagon. "Damn you, Danny Barlow," she yelled to the man below. Before she finished spitting out his name, she pulled a strange-looking gun from the belt of her pants. She fired and missed. "Shit," she cried. But it was close enough for Danny Barlow to lose his footing. He stumbled off the seat into the wagon. She fired again. He froze in his position, toppled, and fell to the ground like a stone. The bulldog flying with her dived down and sniffed his mistress's target. "How is he, Bill?" "Stiff." The old woman flew to the boy. "Thanks, Aunt Dunn." "Sage, you just missed being killed. What the hell are you doing out here? I want you to go home right now." "But Aunt Dunn." "Don't you butt me, boy. You're nothing but a child, and I don't want to lose you. Look, you scouted for us, you spied. Now you're done. You hear me? I gotta head out east and pull the unions this way. I'm not asking you, Sage, I'm telling you. Go home. And by golly, great one, make damn sure Kenneth stays there with you. Just one more sweep, Aunt Dunn. Stop it, Sage. All right, I'm going back. Sage made 2 more sweeps without seeing a single soldier. On the third, he saw 5 men come out of the woods and slip around the old spring house behind Aunt Dunn's cafe. They climbed up the cafe's back stairs and kicked in the door. Sage. I landed hard, buckling down on my knees. I saw Kenneth crawling down the front of the laundry room from the roof. He gripped its front window, pulling it up. I whistled, and he saw me. Then I looked up and saw Robin in an upstairs window. My heart was trying to pound its way out of my throat. I whistled again, ran to the side door of the storeroom, and jimmied it open. I pulled out my Frosty and stepped inside. 2080, Chapter 1. Sage. As I walked to the pool with Robin's hand in mine, I remembered. I remembered when we just went swimming. I remembered when there was a mural of colorful fish and shells instead of scriptural verses on the outside wall of the pool building. When laughter and shouts drifted over the fence into the park and up the shady tree-lined streets. When there was no solemnite leader to gather us for prayer or ask about our meeting house attendance. When no one looked for signs of waywardness or mutiny. I remembered when Mama went with us. But that was before the Solemnite soldiers swept over our city, before they bore down on us. This was a July day, 3 years after. I had quickly learned not to miss prayers or meeting house in the summer, so that our little talks would actually be on the short side and there wouldn't be so much pressure for extra group or youth activities. If the leader that day was really jived up, I would stay just long enough to cool off, plunging underwater away from shouts and beckonings. Hi, Sherry. I'm going to take Robin now. We need to get home. So soon? Well, y'all come back now. Don't be a stranger. We've just been splashing and laughing and talking about the great one. That's great. Did Robin put her face in the water? Yes, she did. You know, your mom used to come swimming. How's she doing, Sage? She gets pretty tired. Robin? Sage! Come on, Robin, hurry. Let's go see Mama. Sage! Over here, Guy. Mr. Gregory's calling you, Sage. Sure. Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get Robin. Thanks for sharing your joy, Sherry. We'll be back soon. Let me dry Robin off a little bit. Hi, Mr. Gregory. Say, Sage, could you give me a few minutes before you take off? I thought we might talk a little. I picked out some special verses for you. Oh, thanks. I don't mean to run off, sir, but our Mama isn't feeling too well today. She asked me not to stay too long. I really need to get back home and help out with some chores. Daddy's been real busy in the parks. Well, how's he liking his new job? Great. Oh, yeah, he's real happy. Like I was saying, Mama's not feeling well. Mr. Gregory, could we talk next time? I mean, I'm always coming to the pool. If you want to, write those verses down for me. I promise to look them up. Then I'll be ready for our talk. Good idea. I'll do just that. You got some good solemn ways, Sage. I see how you look after your little sister. Well, I guess we better mind our mothers. There you are. We'll talk next time, okay? Sure. Thanks, Mr. Gregory. We'll see ya. Say goodbye to Mr. Gregory, Robin. The little girl turned in circles and danced. Then she looked at Mr. Gregory and raised and closed her hand in a wave. Mr. Gregory chuckled. Guess that'll do. Just remember, Sage, show your joy. I'll try. Sage placed his hand on Robin's shoulder and quickly guided her away, not so fast as to be rude, but fast enough to discourage any more delays. Mr. Gregory stood looking at them as they walked away. Sage could feel his gaze. He stopped and turned and waved goodbye, flashing a wide smile across his sweet, handsome face, a smile that evaporated the instant he turned away. Sage. I had turned 11 in May. Robin was only 3. It had been at least a year since my father was dismissed from the university. He and Mama spent day after day worrying. Finally, Daddy was hired by one of the companies that owned the city parks. He mowed and raked and shoveled and repaired whatever needed mowing, raking, shoveling, or repairing. He was not dangerous when he was doing those things. When he cut grass or shoveled snow, he wasn't publishing well-crafted but morally corrupt opinions. He couldn't steer students into ungodly misinterpretations of history when he was replacing a slat on a bench. But there was something about Mama that was always dangerous to her mentors from the ladies' circle. She caused them to increase the pressure of their hands as they smoothed their long skirts. Their red-lipped smiles sat frozen on their faces. They squinted their eyes as they looked earnestly into her face. They stiffened their resolve, coming more and more often. Mama grew more rigid, silent, and pale. Her fists were clenched. The ladies smoothed their skirts over and over with increasingly heavy hands. The frozen red smiles fell from even the most determinedly helpful of her mentors. Well, Anna Marie, I smell something yummy. Did you bake us something? I'm heating up some cookies that I got at the bakery. Just a second, I'll make some coffee. Okay, thanks. Say, do you ever bake for your family? Did you read those suggested scriptures, Anna Marie? Yes, I did. Our topic today is our joy in God's plan for women. Are you still keeping your shop open, Anna Marie? Have you thought about how you could bring God and family and the peace of obedience into your shop and into your life? You're still a young woman. Surely you thought of more children. Anna Marie, are you really trying to bring the scriptures into your heart? These photographs, your designs and colors, well, obviously you're very talented. But it doesn't seem to me that you're bringing the Great One into your work. Shouldn't it serve him? Anna Marie, are you giving the Holy One credit? I think so. I've always thought that these are gifts. We may be doing it, but the colors, the designs, our abilities, I've always known they're gifts. And knowing that they're gifts is a gift itself, isn't it? Knowing that you're part of something bigger. But I do wonder, do I always have to write it all over them? Doesn't that smooth everything out and make it all the same? Is the Great One so domineering? I was just thinking, honey, maybe you need to think a little less and submit a little more. Yes, all right. I just don't see it in you, Anna Marie. I see a will, your will, not his will. And your plans for a little addition? Oh, yeah, any good news yet? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did you say? I'm sorry. Are you listening, Anna Marie? Excuse me, my head hurts. Leave me alone. Anna Marie, let's pray. Leave me alone. I'm worried for your soul, Anna Marie. Anna Marie, Anna Marie, look, Anna Marie, this will not be good for you. This will not be good for your family. Look, do you understand? Do you hear me? Anna Marie. Sage. I knew that day at the pool. It was hot and I wanted to go swimming, but I didn't want to stay too long. Mama's mentors would be coming, and I always tried to be there with her. As I walked to the pool, remembering the memory of before, chafing hard against the raw of now, a new feeling of dread began to percolate inside me. When I got to the pool, I dove down hard and deep, trying to drive it away. But as soon as I burst up from the bottom and exploded the surface, I knew. It punched me in the chest and made me gasp for air. I knew that one day Mama would blow apart. I needed to get home. But I was a child. I moved on. I helped at home. I memorized scriptures and went to the meeting house we were assigned to. I read and slipped off to study with Dr. Cato. I played when I could. Soon this fear was not special. It simply slipped into that mass of undifferentiated anxieties that was always there, sitting on our shoulders like heavy, wet blankets, making my father and my mother and me feel tired and sad. Robin clung to us. I can't get past this page. And the next reading will be 2081, and it will be chapter 1. Okay, well that's it for today. Maybe I'll show paintings tomorrow. Talk to you again. And I hope you have a good evening. And we've got to stick together. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.